Hey, you guys, thank you for watching my channel. I know you really like the geometry, and the comments I get are really great, and I really appreciate you all stepping in just to take a piece of this. Now, let me explain the geometry of this dual pendulum, okay? Because that's something out there that sounds a little funky, but the body pivot operates around the head, which is the top of the pendulum, and the body pivot, okay? Now, the blue line, the other vertical line there, is for the other pendulum. The second pendulum is the wrist joints uncocking and cocking, okay? Now, the 0 point of the pendulum is the left shoulder socket for the hands. So there's the other pendulum straightening out at the bottom there, the flat spot. Like if there was another circle here, we'll make it in blue. And there's another circle right there. It would be at the bottom there. So that would be the hinging of the wrist uncocking at the bottom at that would be 6 o'clock, or the flat spot underneath the shoulder. Okay. So what the differentiator that the tour players do that you guys can do and start to work on is like, how do I get that left shoulder over there? Because most every amateur that comes to see me has the left shoulder going up early before it gets over the ankle, therefore throwing the club out early and can't take the compressed divots. So then it's like, well, how do I do it? Well, you need to go into an unweighted kind of flexion. And the flexion happens with the knees starting to rebend, like Tiger here. So you watch his head here at the top of the circle, and then you begin to see him drop down. And then the left shoulder seemingly goes this way. It goes level to the ground. It has its own kind of lateral action. You see that? It's not pulling up. It's actually dropping down a little with his body, with his back to the target, as he moves both his upper body and lower body towards the target before unwinding. So the rule is, the law, if you will, you do not rotate the shoulders on the upward portion of the axis until you get that left shoulder lined up over the left ankle, which is a zero line and flat spot here. Okay. So I thought you'd be a little bit fascinated with this. It's like, oh, so that's why when you see like the other video I did with Keegan Bradley, both Tiger and he had the club and right arm and cocked right here. And then by the time they got to the ball, there was a 90-degree rotation of that left hand there, and then another 90 over here. There's so much action in what I call the lower 180 of the golf swing. And the lower 180 of the golf swing is the lower half of this yellow circle. You know, when you get down and just cut yourself in the middle by the belt, then you have the lower 180. And there's a lot of action with this club transferring energy, the body transferring energy into this golf club right here. So let me get to a different view with Mac O'Grady, and I'll show you guys the same thing what the great players, great ball strikers do, and when Tiger's one of the best iron strikers of all time. All right, so here's this gentleman, your everyday golfer, and feet are probably a little bit too narrow here. But when this gentleman winds up, you can see the head and things are doing a nice job. He's got the ball position back. He's trying to play some low shots. He's going to Ireland. But what we tracked today was I showed him this narrow to wide hand path, complete opposite of what players do on the tour. Players on the tour are wide, then they come in more narrow. So as you're going up with your shoulders, kind of like a turntable up here, right? With the LP, you know, spinning around up on the shoulders, you're winding up clockwise. So as you wind up clockwise, you want to keep your hands wide, think of Stricker, and then as you get towards the end of the backswing is when you want to feel like your hands kind of recollect back into you. So right here, he's casting and pushing the club away, and where he should be going is like wide, way wide out here, and feeling like the right elbow, right shoulder retract behind him more towards that putting green back there. So consequentially, he's going to come in and throw the club early, as you can see. And this is like the average day guy. I know you guys know you do this out there, but you need to go wide away and then feel like you're going to skip a rock and bring those arms into your body rather than pushing them away from your body. Okay? And that'll help you keep the angle in the wrists a little bit longer. You can see he gets the club. I mean, even though you see this casted club, you'll see how the club handle is a little ahead of the club head still. Do you see that? You know, the handle is actually up past the grip, the glove there somewhere, and it's still got shaft lean, even though he's throwing the hell out of it. So he's got a shallow divot and, you know, makes nice contact. Um, but to get the actual compression of the ball the way we want, and also the path maybe to come inside a little easier, got to shift that weight. You cannot shift the weight forward if you have energy going away from your body this way by pushing the hands. There's just no way you can go the other way with your lower body or whole body. And so you're kind of stuck. So this is when I would say that the lower body is stabilizing whatever's going on with the arms rather than enhancing with the arms. So when you collect, I'm going to get all these lines out of there. When you collect the arms into your body in the transition, you are then able to take, like you saw Tiger and Stricker, shift this way with both upper and lower body, and the arms would feel into your body with the right elbow closer here. So I thought that would be really interesting for you guys to take a look at that. Okay, here we go. So Steve Stricker, a wide swinging guy, right? So you can see he's got the longest arc on the backswing of anyone. There's no wrist cock. The right arm's fairly straight. Definitely levers are wide and away. And he's a very consistent player. So he uses a sweep release. So at the point here where his hands are down by his thigh and the shaft's level to the ground, you can see that shaft is over here. Okay, the club's way out there. He continues to unwind. So as his belt drops, a la Tiger, like good players do, they always compress their hips down via the knees and a little bit of pushing the rear out behind them, behind their heels. He gets into a compression look or free falling lower look. His head's dropped a few inches. All right, he's still wide. Look at how wide that is. Now he's sweep releasing in. So he's not holding the lever. He's not moving those hands in front of the right thigh before he goes like Tiger. And if you saw Keegan Bradley, that comparison I did, you know. So the geometry for Steve is a sweep release. It's in the Golf Machine book, defined, and still has that left shoulder by the vertical red line over the left ankle, as I said with Tiger. And again, there's the emblem of the glove facing us. As the left arm starts to rotate counterclockwise, squares the face up, releases, and on the other side, nice and wide as well. So you can see Steve's head, which operates the body pendulum, is just, you know, he's just spinning around that axis. You know, you can clearly see there's no juggling around of that head. It's just really solid. A tiny bit of movement, but hardly any at all. So the pivoting around the upper axis, which is the player's shoulders and spine, where the head is attached. And there you go. All right, so you signed up for MORAD. That's awesome. Mac O'Grady, one of the hardest hitting golf ball that I've ever heard in my 2003 school with him, Vegas. So what you're going to learn here is how to set your body on the ground, how to get your center of balance, your center of gravity, as we say, pivoting, keeping yourself organized with your head, the wrist joints, how they set to accelerate the club down with the pivot train. Right side coming through, elbow, hip, shoulder, everything accelerating through with a bunch of speed and balance. Mac looked the smoothest as anybody, like a Ben Hogan.